Do I even have a right to speak on a show full of queer women? Hello and welcome back to The Spills, a queer pop culture chat show from Gay Star News. My name's Helen Meriel Thomas and I'm joined today by Cara Kinney from BBC's queer dating show, I Kissed a Girl. And today we're talking about queerness on reality TV dating shows, bisexuality on reality dating shows, whether we'll ever get a queer Love is Blind.
There we go, spilling the tea.
Yeah, exactly. Can you tell the viewers a little bit about who you are and the show that you were on and how that all came about?
Well, I'm Cara, I'm from Ireland, and I randomly got approached to go on a queer dating show, which I was like, I got approached on a dating app, and I firstly was like, this is so strange. Like, but then I was so curious about it. I was like, right, I'm just going to match, like, let's see what happens. Got through just like randomly, because I'd like already left. I was going traveling context, I was going traveling at the time, so I'd left my job already. There was like no repercussions to going on the show. I wasn't leaving a job, I wasn't doing anything. It was just like, I don't know, it just seemed like it fit. Like, I was like, right, okay. And it was like really like, I was like, I've never seen anything like this before. And I was like, this, I don't know, it's something exciting. I didn't think it was, plus, I'm not gonna lie, I had looked at the boys before and I was like, it doesn't look like this has really affected their life. It doesn't look like they got a lot of, I don't know, like following or anything from it. So it just seems like something that won't really affect me. If I go on it, it's gonna be fine. It's just a wee fun part of my travels. And then I went on it and everyone loved it. So shocked me.
Do you think that it's become more popular than the boys one? Not to make it a competition, but
It's definitely like not a competition. I think the first series of anything is always like people are still getting used to it, and obviously I feel like the queer community like bands together. It was like second time around they're like, right, we're showing the sport, we want it back for series 3. Like, I just think that's the natural progression of the show. I don't even think we knew the impact it was going to have. Like, I don't think anyone thought they were going to get like messages from girls being like, this has really helped me, like this has helped me find my identity. Even myself, like I went on to it and I completely like, I feel like a different person coming out of it because it made me feel so secure and like kind of confront like, I don't know, like internalized homophobia, which I didn't realize I had. I obviously grew up in Ireland, not saying everyone's homophobic, they're not, but it's just like never a point of discussion. Like, it's kind of like, yeah, okay, you can do what you want, that's it, that's you, but like, let's not talk about it. And then when I was around a load of queer women, it was like, no, I can be confident in this. And like, I don't know, help me like kind of, I don't know, discover myself. Obviously things are dramatized, like it's reality show. Like, when I was watching, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, where was I for that? So it's not to say that, but it's TV. People aren't going to watch it if there's not some level of drama in it. But I think it was really authentic and it did bring up topics that people aren't used to seeing on TV. Like, I think there's so many things that aren't normalized and you don't see it. It's like, it is going to be strange because you've not seen it before. There's even like, how many years ago was it really strange to see someone who's gay on TV? And now it's just like, okay, blasé, like, which is why obviously we're here to talk about how strange it is to see, like, you don't really generally see a bisexual woman, or that's the storyline. It's like, the more you see it, the more people become familiar with it. It doesn't become like a alien subject. It's like, it opens up conversation. I think that's what the show did. It's like open up conversation for people.
So when you went on the show, you were identifying as bisexual.
Yes.
And that may have changed.
It has changed. And I hate that, do you know what? Like, I feel like, in all honesty, like, I do hate that I'm like, it's kind of like giving into like the stereotypical, like, oh my God, you're just like, it's
just stop on the way to date.
Like, you just, it's like everyone's like, okay, right, being bisexual, you're eventually going to come out and you're going to be gay. But like, and that is not the case. In my case, and I even at that, right now, I hate putting that label on it because I'm just like, I don't know. Like, right now, I'm like, absolutely, I can never see myself with a man. And like, even if you look, like, obviously, people don't know my backstory of like having that contact with someone, like, that was fine. But in terms of like the actual sexual experience, I never wanted to do it. And I'd be going with someone for months and it would be more so like, oh my God, I find this person. It's not like I don't find someone attractive. It was like, sorry, can I just preface this by going like, this is why I thought I wasn't gay. Because I was going, I don't think men are repulsive. There's like an hour where it's like, you have to find a man repulsive. Like, you could never want to kiss a man. That wasn't the case for me. I have never wanted to sleep with a man. That's where I got confused because I was like, I don't find men repulsive. I love their company. But I never wanted to sleep with a man. And that's why I usually didn't. Like, people don't know, like, I barely have ever slept with anyone. Like, I would be dating someone, whatever, but I wouldn't sleep with them because I just like the aspect of like closeness. And I would get that confused with being like familiar, and then it would turn into like, okay, well, this is a natural next step. I have to sleep with them because that's just what you do. Until I realized that no, actually, in loads of women's experiences, gay women's experience, that it's not that they don't like the company or like haven't been attracted to a man, which I think there is a confusion. You can still find a man attractive, but not want to sleep with him. I thought if you found them attractive, that meant you were automatically, you weren't gay if you found a man attractive. That's just what I've always thought. So now that I can play, I've like, obviously it's opened up, like this show has opened up a world of discussion for me. Like I've kind of like felt comfortable going like, okay, yeah, I've dated men, but after like actually delving deep into it, I've gone like, no, have I ever wanted to sleep with a man? No, like, like I've never wanted to sleep with him, so it makes sense I'm gay.
Had you dated girls much before that point?
But I had like slept with one girl, and I was like really insecure going on the show. Like I was like, do you just know, like I've only dated one girl. Like I've only like slept with one girl, and I was like really trying to like drill it into them. I was like, because I just didn't feel like, I was like, how's anyone going to relate to this? Like, how is anyone going to relate? I was like, I don't even have a right to speak on a show full of queer women. Like I was like, ugh.
Like, and then you probably realised that like that's actually probably the most relatable place.
I didn't know what it was like, because I'd never seen it. I was like, I don't even know what's going on here. Like I was like, bear in mind, I was not seeing that as like, I've actually only slept with a very limited amount of men as well. But I was like, but I'd only slept with one woman, even though like comparatively, like a lot of like queer women I knew, gay women I know have slept with way more men than I'd ever slept with. But I was going, because they identify as gay, then like they're way more gay than me, and I don't count. Like I was like, I literally don't count as being gay now, because but I really drilled that into her. I was like, are you okay with this? And then obviously I feel way more comfortable now that I'm in a relationship with a woman. I'm like, I don't, before I got into a relationship with Elle, I had nothing to really compare it to. So like, I wasn't compared. I was just going, I'd say one girl, but it wasn't like a meaningful connection. And then I was like, actually, it was just like, I felt way more comfortable in my sexuality. So I was dating women exclusively then. And I was like, oh my God, is this what it's supposed to feel like? It's like, I didn't like hate dating a man, but like I love dating a woman. So I was going like, okay, right, would I ever, like, it was just like, it just felt like, right, God, I'm saying the most typical things, I'm like, just felt right. Even now, as someone who is like gone like, okay, right, I now identify as a lesbian, hate that, because I'm like, kind of, who knows what the future holds, like, yeah, I hate it, but like, can I imagine myself with a man? No. Anyway, I'm still like going like, it's still like, but you think you might go back to a man because you were once bisexual, and it's like, when is the line drawn, like, where you can just be like, I'm like, you can't even know if you're still tarnished with it, even if you know you identify as lesbian. It's like, but you were bisexual. It's like, that's how big of a stigma it is, like, to be bisexual, because like, it is a real thing. Like, people do genuinely be like, yeah, but it's just like a phase, or it's just like, yeah, but you're going to end up a man. It's like, no, I'm like, I don't have to I think being bisexual, you can express yourself or like identify in any way you want. Like, why does it matter? Like, I genuinely don't get it. And it's like, you shouldn't have to validate yourself to someone. Like, and also, that person is a dick if they're making you. Like, who cares? If I'm with you, I'm with you. Like, stop questioning it. Sorry, I went around there. So, someone did see the trauma there.
This is kind of like gets to the heart of what we're going to talk about today, which is that a lot of these shows, dating reality shows, have a very like binary way of looking at things and pairing people up. And obviously the game and the sort of slightly competitive element of it is that everyone's got to find a match. So I'm talking here about Love is Blind, Love Island are kind of the main examples. And even like to some extent you have with I Kiss a Girl and I Kiss a Boy, there is that like competitive monogamy element.
Yeah.
Which doesn't necessarily fit into everyone's perception of sexuality or their experiences. And so on Love Island, one of the most famous breakout stars of Love Island is Megan Barton Hanson, Queen. And she has said that she thinks that the reason she was initially rejected for Love Island, because she'd applied, I think, in like 2017, and she put on her application that she was bisexual, and then she didn't make the show, and then the following year she left it off her application and they let her on the show. So she thinks that they were like, didn't want to have to kind of deal with the messiness.
I was just about to say, it's like a messy narrative. It's like, people are like, they want like a stereotypical, most reality TV shows, they want something that appeals to like the biggest audience, and they're going like, what's the easiest storyline? Also, typically they already have their storyline writ out. What are they going to do whenever they've gone like, oh, Cara's going to be with Chad this whole way, and then Cara's actually attracted to Helen? That just messes up the storyline. So they're going, this is messy, this is going to be harder to write a storyline. This is like, they can't kind of script it. And they all are kind of scripted. I'm not saying ours wasn't, but it is like, there is definitely, you're nudged into an narrative, or you're nudged to stay with someone. You're nudged, even though there is issues, it's like, this is where they see you going. And if they can't predict that, I kind of get why they'd be like, way more effort, that's it, done. It's too much effort for them. Even though, like, how is that supposed to represent like a sexuality if they're going like, okay, we can never show it because it's too much effort. Like,
yeah, and they kind of did experiment with it in season 2. Obviously, you had the late Sophie Graydon matching with I think it was Katie, and that kind of became quite an interesting storyline. But I'm quite surprised that Love Island has never done that again, like that's never come up again or never been an issue again, because like surely, I mean, how many people are in the Love Island villa over the course of a summer? Like,
God, I don't know.
20 or something. Like, there's got to be some gay people in there, like, or bisexual people in there.
Yeah, but then are they scared because they've seen like what has happened, like what maybe they've seen that Megan Barton come out and say whatever, but like they're scared to actually explore that storyline because they know that's not like favoured in the public. I think it could be something like that. Maybe they're going like, what's going to be the best? What will people want to see to get me to stay in? And then they're too scared to explore that connection because it's never been seen before. They don't know how that's going to pan out.
Yeah, pan being the operative word. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting. Like, I feel as though, I think this every time I watch Love Island or Love is Blind, I'm like, the girls are like just so much better looking to me than the men. I wonder why. And I am like very comfortable in my bisexuality, and I'm like, you know, very attracted to men as well. But I think that I can see why it would be such a problem for producers, and I kind of wonder whether behind the scenes there's ever been something which they've had to kind of like steer someone away from. It's also interesting what you said about like how the public might perceive the relationship. Do you still think that the public sees bisexual people in that kind of quite negative light?
Yeah, because I think it's one of the things that, like, the less you see of it, the less you know. So it's like that alienated, like, oh my God, what is it? Like, they don't know because there's no representation. So it's like catch-22, like, unless there's a representation, people are still going to have the same perspective of it. They're going like, this is like, what is this? Like, oh my God, especially because like usually bisexual, and it usually is women, because like there's like basically no representation of bisexual men, for some reason. But it's usually like they're these hypersexualized, like up for anything party girls, when that is really not like the reality of many bisexual women. I mean, like that can be a personality trait of some people, like as of any like sexuality. It's just like they're kind of like categorized into like hypersexuality, like, oh my God, look at this girl, she just would go with anyone. Or else they're seen as someone who is confused, like confused. Or there's someone who is like, yeah, I've been with a woman and like I find them attractive, but I can never see myself settling down with a woman. It's never just like a normal bisexual woman who's like represented accurately, or a bisexual man. You just don't see it.
I mean, you kind of got that actually in Love is Blind, both in this season, and I particularly think about season 1. I don't know if you've seen it, but there was that guy, that bisexual man, Carlton, I think his name was, who coupled up with a woman called Diamond, and he had like hidden the fact that he was bisexual from her in the pods. And I think bisexual men have such a hard run of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I mean, you think like we're perceived badly, but like they, I think, are really misunderstood by the public. And he revealed it to her on their kind of like mini fake honeymoon thing that they go on. And and her reaction was like really negative and kind of, I think, especially just more confused, because her first reaction was like, how are you going to know that I'm your one? Are you still going to want to like date around? And obviously on Love is Blind, you've got couples getting engaged. And I just feel like that was kind of exactly how bisexual people are perceived negatively.
Yeah, like you're promiscuous or something. It's like,
yeah,
I've heard people say this before. It's like, yeah, but like cheating. And I'm like, why would that make you any more likely to cheat? If you're going to cheat, you're going to cheat. It doesn't matter if it's with a girl or a boy, or if there's like 2 different people to like pick from. It's like they're seen as promiscuous, or like, God, I need to worry about so much more now. It's like, it's just confusing. And also, I don't think, like, as someone who's been on reality TV, I don't think it helps the narrative they put in place that they make it a dramatic thing. They don't just like have a normal like candid like conversation. Oh, like, oh, who was your last partner? It's never just set up as like a average conversation. It's like so intense, and it's like, how else is the public supposed to view that if it's only ever represented as like this like dramatic thing? Like, it should just be like a candid conversation. Why are people fearing to come out? And I'd say in those instances, it's the producer that is like, okay, you have to say it today. We're gonna like, it's like, it always is built up. So that person's probably absolutely shitting themselves about saying it. And it's made more dramatic because they know what they're doing. They like plant things in your head. They're like, how are you going to proceed? How are they going to proceed this? Are you worried? Are you worried what's going to go on? I'm just saying this from experience of like a cigar. But like, they do set it up in that way, however they want it to be portrayed. they will get into your head and they will say it to you before. So I think that doesn't help in ours. That person probably was could have been comfortable with sexuality, comfortable being like, oh yeah, I'm bisexual, but they play a part in that of going like, God, but like everyone might go wrong now. So like they're probably shitting themselves by the time they get on stage or like get in that environment and they're saying it to that person. Or the other person's probably being talked to and going like, yeah, are you okay with this? Are you okay with this? So it's seen as more of like a dramatic thing than it needs to be.
Why do you think we've still not had like a big mainstream messy bisexual dating show? Because other than like back in the day, back in my childhood, I remember watching A Shot at Love with Tila Tequila. It was on like MTV and it was like one of the first dating reality shows. And for some reason, it was a bisexual dating show with this like MySpace star called Tila Tequila. And she was bisexual. Basically, bisexual bachelor. They had like a group of girls, a group of boys, and she had to like decide who she was going to be with. But it was like really messy and it was kind of playing into a lot of the like bisexual messy party girl stereotypes that you talked about. But it was like kind of good fun, I guess. Then since then, there's been almost nothing. Like I have always said that I think that if you had like a bisexual Love Island or something, it would just be such chaos,
It would be, but who would not want to see that? It would be like, this is why all the producers like want drama. They're like, yeah, go in, have that conversation. You just hold her bitch there, call her bitch to her face. How good. But then also it's like, are they scared of like then like, are they perpetuating the stereotypical, oh my God, that's like because like I know
anyone's an option.
yeah, like are they like going like, oh my God, they want to kind of like, I know for on, I guess the girl they really didn't want like to have, they're going like, people will probably see it, a group of girls, it's gonna be bitchy, it's gonna be messy, it's like typical, but like they did not want us to be like that. They were just like, we wanted the most normal group of girls, and I don't know whether they're like going like, okay, well if we have boys, girls, everything's run into that, how are we even gonna manage that? But like, it's also just a person, like people are not like, what do they think a bisexual person is gonna be? Absolute sex craved, like everyone's gonna be riding around the corner, like I don't know, like what I would watch her. I mean, possibly, but like I'd also still watch that. Classy TV.
It would definitely make for good reality TV. I think like the problem these people have is when they try to make it too much about love. If you have kind of everyone like shagging around every corner,
Yes, it's not very wholesome. It's not very wholesome.
but love. This is where Love Is Blind is quite interesting because obviously that's like a very almost sort of like
How would they make that work? Because I was thinking it because this is my after all, like, so say they had like a like in that one room with like all the men or all the women, then they're likely to, because they're with that person the most, they're probably going to go with someone in that room, and then it ruins the Love Is Blind. So they couldn't do it.
But there is something kind of interesting about not knowing who's behind the curtain. It's basically like, do you go for a connection which is like hidden and like has that kind of curiosity factor?
No, I'd be going with the person in the room. Like, I wouldn't. I'd be like, well, that 10 minutes, that person, no, I'll just go ahead with her.
The person that I'd spend all day under, like,
yeah, maybe not. Like, I just don't get how it would work. Like, I just think the person you spend the most time with, you're just going to be like, with.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's going to be like the connection with it. I don't know. Well, maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see.
Well, it's interesting you say that. So the producer Chris Colin from Love Is Blind was asked in 2020 if he would ever get a queer season. And he said, I do think that based on the setup of it, an LGBTQ plus version of that has some logistical difficulties in the current setup. So you kind of said that earlier, that like it just doesn't fit the heteronormative, like oxy kind of vision that they have and the storyline they have. Could you envisage a queer season of Love Is Blind?
I mean, I'd absolutely love that, but I just do think of like, how would it work? Like, I just like, well, I'm so like I'm thinking of like, actually, how would it work? But who would not want to see that? I think there should be more of that. What was the other show that there was like, all the wives went into the show? What was that called again?
Oh, The Ultimatum. No, see, that was amazing.
Why do they not have that? They don't have that here, do they?
No. They did, because they did the Queer Ultimatum, or The Ultimatum Queer Love, which came out like 2 years ago. And it's from the same makers as Love Is Blind. And that was absolutely huge, but they've not done another season. They say that they are going to do another season, but I think that was amazing because that was like, that was kind of exploring like lesbian stereotypes even, which was
Well, if they just had like, say that kind of concept was like, you're not going in with your wife. You're going in with just like everyone's just in there. I don't know if the Love is Blind would work, because it's like, I just think a bunch of queer women in the same room, it's like they're probably going to fancy each other. Like that's probably naturally going to happen. And if you're splitting that, it's like, I know it leaves too much up to chance. I think if you just had loads of queer women like on like a just like show, no one's paired up, and let it just like take its course. I think let's get on that. Like, what pacer?
So basically that thing. I kissed a girl, but you don't have to do the weird turn.
Oh my god,
that looks so awful.
I literally cannot. It still makes me feel sick. I want to die. I'm gonna go red. It was not romantic. It was horrific. You're strolling up. It's not sexy. It's not cool. I don't. Also, I was like, why did I look like that kissing? I was like, I never want to see. I honestly, I can't even. I'll cry if I think about it. It wasn't cute. I never again should. They should cut that part of it. But I think they should just like let people explore. I think because you're already like, it was like you were paired with your person. It was like they've like done like all this. Like obviously you have to go to a therapist first. And they're like, and then they have like all these people who've had all these in-depth conversations. They like pair you up that way. So they tell you that this is like, this is your person. So like you're already like going into that going like, this is my person. Like, this is
the person that you first matched with?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, I was like, also, I would love to know what I'd be like going in it now. Like,
with the
naughty that I was like confident in my sexuality. I was like really reliant on like, I really believed that this reality show had my bit disintentions on, weirdly. I was like, they know me. Like, they just want me to find love. Like,
so did you have any doubts when you were in the pairing?
Are you serious? Yes. Not that was shown. Yes. This is not an in against Georgia. This is like,
no.
This is like both of us had mutual, like, this is not Georgia. This is like, both of us had like really like moments of going like, what the fuck? Like, and it was only, I think it only became like apparent, like the less and less people that were there. And then it was kind of like, I was like, why are we never grabbing? It was like, there was so much distraction at the start, and you were always talking about the other couples. Like we would obviously be slabbering by everyone else being like, man, we were so strong. And then it was like, the more you were just like, it was just you and your couple, it was like, actually, like, we aren't that strong. Like everyone else is like really gravitating towards each other. And it's like, we're not. And it was like, yeah, but just go have a positive conversation. Like, you love each other. Like, it's like, it was not a scripted show. It was like, really, I did believe at the time. I was like, I really, really, really thought, I was like, this is I must, because they're all telling me like, I really like her. But really, when you come out of it, like, what the fuck do we have in common? Like, nothing. Like, literally, absolutely nothing. It was like, it was just kind of like typical femme, like, wanted a sporty girl. I said I wanted a sporty girl. George's typical sporty girl. Like, it was like, that was kind of our only like mutual thing that we like. I was like, wow, I don't even fucking play sport. I was like, I don't even like football. It's like,
but you just wanted a girl who played football.
Yeah, like basically that was, I didn't want football specifically. I just someone who worked out is all I said. I was just like, someone like that we can go work out together with the gym. That's all I said. And it was like, then I got Georgia. She is lovely, by the way.
Yeah, she seems absolutely lovely. Yeah. But it is a bit of a weird, like, would you do Married at First Sight, where they actually put you with like a wife?
No, because my girlfriend would kill me. So.
This isn't.
If it was with my girlfriend.
This is like theoretical. If you were theoretically single.
No, because I know that it's like, they say they know everything about you, but like, really, you don't know like all the way. Like Georgia got my tits after a while. Just not because anyone would have, because you don't see them. You're living with that person that they don't know you outside that show. They don't know what you're like or how hard you're trying. Like Georgia didn't, like, she couldn't give me any grace, or I couldn't give her any grace. I don't know what she's like outside the show. It's like, I'm trying really hard. You don't see how much better I am than what I was like with the last person, or like what I'm typically like. I'm really trying, but they can only see like a half-hearted, like, do you know what I mean? It's like, they don't know you and you don't know them well enough. And I think all your kind of differences like only come out, like, how the fuck is someone that doesn't know you supposed to tell you that like this is your perfect person? Like, I just don't think that works. Like, I don't think, but then again, look, it has worked for people. It has, like, what is it on, like, Love is Blind? It has worked. Like, if I'm just, like, for me, I just wouldn't put that much trust in, like, that kind of thing again, because I'm, like, I could see, like, the issues. I could see, like, how hard those people must have had to work. Like, even the girls of the show, like, it's, like, a lot of work to, like, kind of, like, find, like, something that works for you, like, outside the show. Even though there's still two couples that have still worked, so...
which I think is amazing.
I know. Well, they weren't paired together. Layla and Meg weren't paired.
Oh,
They
true.
found each other after the show, and they should have been paired because they're like literally so cute. They're so perfect. And then Abby and Leish, who got voted out for being the least likely to stay.
I mean, and that was so funny because I feel like that went down like a lead balloon at the time. That was like one of the only moments of drama in the whole show, and like
Because no one could see, like, this is where like reality TV show really like fucks you over, because like no one could see, like, everyone was like seeing the drama of Abby and Leish's relationship, whereas like I was there, I was seeing like they were so good together, they were so cute. So obviously when they got voted out, I was like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, I was like, they are perfect together. They're the only ones you have, like, it's normal to have arguments. Like, but it's really, if you have an argument on like reality TV show, it's like portrayed as like, Jesus Christ, they must hate each other. But that's real life. Like, you're gonna have arguments. You're gonna have like a bit of like, there's gonna be issues. And I think they were just like really authentic and really real. And that's why they worked outside the show. Because they were the only ones who were completely authentic, not scared to like fight or whatever, which I think everyone else kind of was. Like, I was going like, God, I wanted to have these conversations, but like I was pushed not to. So they had them, and they were like, look at them now, thriving.
Well, I think also because the producers, at least as an audience member, I think were pushing you guys as like the golden couple of the season. How long did you last after?
I mean, if you could even say, like, to be fair, we went to Manchester, like, and we had a really good time in Manchester with all the girls, but like we met up there, it was fine. I genuinely was like, oh, we're good. Then I was obviously going traveling, which I did tell him before the show, and it was just like, I think we were both lazy. We were both just like, and we're both stubborn as well. So it was just like, if she wasn't texting, then I wasn't texting, because I was just like I was like, God, my feelings really hurt, but like I was too embarrassed to tell her, because I was just like, well, she doesn't care, or like, and I assume it was vice versa. Like, it was completely both to blame. Like, we were both like, no one was making an effort. Like, I think we both had big egos, and we're just like, I'm not telling her I care, or this is hurting me. Like, absolutely not. But like, I think that's like mainly why we did not last. It probably put a time on it, probably like a month.
Do you think that it is hard, or that it would be hard to maintain a reality dating relationship?
Yeah. And I think it's so much pressure as well. Like, to be fair, I'd love to have seen, like, I don't know how people react whenever it's like in the moment. Obviously, we had like all that time to digest. Like, we are going to be in a show. Like, you're not thrust into the public eye as being in a couple. Like, we were like, by the time the show came around, we were dead and gone, and we didn't have to worry about that. But I would assume, like, if it was like straight after the show and everyone knew we were a couple, it'd be so much pressure to stay together as well. So like, I actually couldn't imagine that, because like there might be issues, but you're going like, everyone wants us to be together. Like, I had so many people being like, I even someone the other day commented and been like, oh, so you're not with, like, me and my girlfriend on TikTok, and they were like, oh, but you and Georgia were so cute. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, it's like 2 years ago, they're like, well, this is my girlfriend. Like, what do you want me to do? Just so like, it's like entertaining, or like you see that couple you seen on TV, which wasn't even fucking real. Which, well, it was real, but it wasn't. Well,
It was like, seemed like maybe it was more like a close friendship, probably.
yeah, like I would, like, we even said this, like, we were like, if it had been like outside the show and there wasn't so much pressure on Georgia and I to be like the perfect couple, like, it was like, that ruined us. Like, we had this discussion in there, like, it was like everyone telling us like we were perfect, and then we kind of like never talked about problems, which is obviously just gonna make you angry at that person and like create more problems. So I think if in there we hadn't had so much pressure to be so like never talk about issues, then we would have probably been fine. But it was like the fact that we weren't even allowed to talk about anything that was annoying us that made us like, there was no way it was going to work. I was crying. I wanted to go home. Like, I literally was like, I need to go home. I woke up one day and I was just like, I'm going home. And they were like, you're not. And I was like, I am. It's like, literally don't give a fuck about this show. I'm going home. And then like, you obviously talked to the therapist and all, and it was like, okay, no, we've worked out. George talked to therapist, I've talked to therapist, she's are fine. And it was like, it worked out that way. And then that's when you've seen positive again. But I can see where that, like, I can see where you would have that kind of pressure. And I don't know how it would have panned out if it had been live, if it had been like month to month and we were like, what is it, Love Island, where you're coming out and like everyone expects a couple. I don't know.
Say on I Kiss a Girl, say there was just like, they threw in a couple of guys to throw a cat amongst the bisexual pigeons. How do you think that would have gone down?
I would love to have seen that. Like, I would absolutely love to see, because like a lot of the girls have been like guys in that show, like a lot, like even to like recently, I went on the show and I was like surprised that there was like other women, like everyone there had slept with a guy before. Like, I think there was like, who hadn't? Hannah was the only one who hadn't ever slept with a guy.
Really?
Everyone else had slept with a guy before. So I would like, obviously there's people who are just lesbian, but like, I would love to, like, I was shocked that they actually had more than one. I thought it was a token bisexual woman on it. Like, I genuinely thought that. I was like, God, they're just throwing me out. Everyone's gonna laugh at me. Like, what the hell? But there was actually, like, Leisha's pan, like, who else? Layla, Meg as well. So there was like 4 people, well, me at the time, that were
And Demi as well.
on Demi.
So in conclusion, what we want is one show that's literally just like they lock a bunch of people in a house and see what happens.
Yeah.
And we want a queer Love is Blind where we have women on either side of the pods. And
pitching this feels like a pitch. Like, who's paying for this?
from Love is Blind, kinetic content. And any other ideas for a queer dating show? This is our chance to pitch
I'm
this.
sorry, I think you've just like nailed it there. Like, I think you've just got it. Just like one where you're just not like having that like stereotypical, no one's expected to be with anyone. I think that would be like, I'd love there to be a show that's genuine. It's just like there's no like these like assumptions that this person's going to go with this, like the stereotypical rule of like anyone with anyone. It's just like, you do you, go wherever you love at the moment. And I think that'll be perfect. Like just no narratives written beforehand.
All right, thank you so much,
Thank
Cara,
you,
for
I
joining
loved
for
it.
The Spills, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.